Hey guys, it's Michelle with PlanetWOW.club, and if you're new here, if you're seeing this for the first time, this is day 19 in the midst of a 31-day challenge designed to help you wrap up 2016 in a powerful way and build momentum going into 2017. But regardless of when you're watching this video, you can absolutely get value out of it. We are talking about little small shifts we can make every single day in order to better align our business with our top business goals of maximum profit and ultimate freedom. And today is day 19, and we're talking about follow-up, right? The fortune in the follow-up. And this is something that is cliche because it's true, right? And it's also something that I don't know any business couldn't get better at, right? A lot of times I look at businesses and I see that they're leaving so much profit on the table simply because they are not following up. They're failing to follow up in a strategic and savvy way. So that's what we're talking about today. If you are not part of our Facebook group, go to PlanetWOW.club and make sure you request to join. We'd love to have you as part of the ongoing conversation. But today, so when we talk about follow-up, one of the things that I love about follow-up is that when you're following up with someone, the assumption is they've already expressed interest in what you do. They have already maybe met with you, discussed their problem with you in detail, excuse me. And so it's a perfect lead, right? And we definitely don't want to let these leads kind of go by the wayside. And here's one of the number one kind of arguments regarding follow-up, right? And people will say, well, why don't you follow up? Well, I don't follow up. I just don't want them to think I'm just after the sale or I'm just after their money. And I'm thinking, okay, well, let me get this straight. You meet with them. They talk with you about the problem that you solve. You ask them to work with you. They either disappear. Excuse me, my time tamer is going off. They either disappear or they say, not right now. And in an effort not to let them think you're only after the money, you decide that you're never going to talk with them again, right? They didn't say yes, and so you don't follow up. And so I want to really challenge you, because following up is something where you are continuing to be of a service-oriented mindset, right? You're continuing to say, hey, I still care about this. You know, you and I discussed this issue. How is that going for you, right? Just like you would a friend, just like you would a family member. And this is the way we want to design our businesses, so that we're not treating our business leads different than we would a dear friend. So when someone is coming to you and they're saying, good morning, you know, when people are coming to you and you're talking about the problem that you solve, and they're being vulnerable with you, and they are, you know, talking about how you might be able to help them, and then they disappear. We can't just forget about that, right? We would not do that to a friend. We would follow up and say, hey, you never mentioned this again. How is it going for you? And I just want to kind of, before we get into the kind of nuts and bolts of follow-up, so that we can make this to where we aren't leaving a bunch of money and opportunity and service on the table, I want to just kind of shift our mindset. Follow-up is part of how we serve our market, right? It's part of how we show that we care. It's part of how we show our commitment to our market. If we are only committed up until the no, then we're not really committed, right? If we're only committed until someone doesn't give us money, we're not really committed, and we expose ourselves as such. So we want to make sure that we have a mindset of follow-up as a service, as a relational obligation to our target market, right? When we shift our mindset around this, one, we dread it less. Two, we should feel obligated to follow up. They trusted us to talk with us about whatever problem we solve, and we've said to them we cared, and we said to them that we could help them, and so we have a relational obligation to follow up, almost a moral obligation, if you'd like to call it that. But here's so I just want to shift the mindset. Now we're going to get into three different kind of ways that we can make sure that follow-up becomes a habit in our business, a discipline in our business. So the first way to do that is the same way you would do anything that you want to make a habit or a discipline or an ongoing commitment, and it is to schedule it in, right? Schedule in time every week to follow up, right? If we are in business at all. We have a lot of people we need to follow up with, and a few at least every week. People that, maybe disappeared on us, people that said yes and then never paid, people that said not right now. There's a whole list of people that we need to follow up with, right? And so we want to schedule that follow up in. 30 minutes a week. An hour a week, and you're way better off than you are now. The truth is, one of the biggest things I have people do is I get, especially coaches, consultants, experts, speakers, that kind of thing, is to go through their email box, go through there and look and see what money you've left in your email box. People who have said, I'm not really sure. They asked the question. You've never even followed up with them. They've asked about an event. You never followed up with them. We need to make sure that we're not leaving this money and opportunity to serve on the table. And so we want to schedule it in half hour or an hour a week. Absolutely. Ongoing commitments. Carve out that time, protect it. Keep it like you keep any other appointment, and use that time to follow up with people that you could serve. The second kind of tidbit, I guess, for making follow-up a really profitable discipline in your business is to systemize it, right? After about a month of weekly follow-up, then what you're going to have is you're going to see, well, there are certain kind of responses that I'm sending out over and over again. Cut and paste them, put them in a document on your computer. Don't reinvent the wheel all the time. I'm very, very committed to very relational follow-up. I don't do just kind of standard cut and paste, but I do use some cut and paste so that I can personalize. I can put it in there, and then I can personalize it for the person. And I usually acknowledge it, and I say, like, excuse the cut and paste below, right? But based on what you said before, here's what and I acknowledge that it's a cut and paste. I don't try to pretend. But you want to systemize. You want to schedule, then you want to systemize as much as possible. So think when you're going through this for about a month, you've had in a month you've had 4 different follow-up sessions, then you're going to start to see some things that are on repeat. And so you want to make sure that you systemize those to just keep your follow-up a little bit more streamlined. And so there's no need to reinvent the wheel. A lot of times people are coming to you in sort of the same kind of situation. They're asking the same questions. They have the same objections, and or they're having the same behaviors. Yeah, I'm interested. Talk with me after the first year. Yeah, I'm interested. Let me get back to you. They never get back to you. There's lots of situations that require follow-up that are very, they are kind of similar to each other, okay? So you want to make sure that you have a systemized approach for doing that. A simple file on your computer or notes or whatever is just fine. We don't have to complicate it. We shouldn't complicate it. Just have some kind of standard responses so that when you're in your follow-up mode once a week, then you have some things you can go to, cut and paste. And I, like I said, I don't apologize for using cut and paste, but I don't act like I don't either. So I call it out, right? I want people to know what is from my heart to theirs and what is a cut and paste, because I think that makes it more powerful. And so I'll respond to them relationally, and then I'll say, hey, excuse the cut and paste, but this is some information about whatever that might help you. So and then the third thing is, you want to have a plan for catching up on follow-up. This is something that I do quarterly. Once a quarter, I have usually, I'm not drinking as much wine. I've never drank a lot of wine, but like I used to sit down with a glass of wine and do this. And now I really don't, do the wine. Usually I'll do coffee or something, but, once a quarter, I sit down and I go through my email box, right? Your inbox is flush with profit. It is flush with profit. I've never met one exception to this rule, because we're bad at follow-up, right? We just don't build it in. And so and even when we do, there will be things that slip through the cracks. And so I encourage people to go into their email box and go through it. Like, what opportunities did you not follow up on? What speaking opportunities? Who said, yeah, I'd like to have, we can consider you as a speaker, shoot us over whatever information, and you didn't have that information, so you didn't follow up. Like, that's me. Or, they're interested in an interview, or they're interested in doing business with you, or they say, hey, let me know next time. And a lot of times, like, especially if you're filling an event or something, and people say, oh, I can't make it this time, let me know next time. And we think that's sort of a brush off. And so we never follow back up with them. It's like, no. When we have a plan for follow-up, then we'll actually get back to those people. You know what that separates us from the in terms of the 1% and the 99%. 99% will never follow back up with those people. But if you do, then you start to earn their trust, earn their respect, things like that. Follow-up is a phenomenal business tool because so few use it, and it separates you from the rest. So those are the follow-up notes, I guess. The first part is create a mindset of this is a moral, an ethical, a relational obligation to follow up with people because they've exposed something to you and you don't just want to ignore it. And then the three things are schedule, right? Schedule it every week, systemize what you can, and then have a plan for catching up and a routine for catching up with the follow-up so that we don't leave the profit in our inbox there so long that it starts to kind of rot on the vine. So there you have it. And if, oh, one other quick question. If you're right now you're saying, okay, Michelle, I need to follow up. I need to, you're welcome, Art Girly, Carol. If you are saying, okay, I need that, like I'm 2 years behind on follow-up, I need to get into this. You know, I always tell people to start with, you know, when they're starting their emails, you know, you don't want to start 3 years back, right? You might want to start and just go through the emails of the last year or the last 6 months or something like that. But you know what? Depending on your industry, you know, some people are, you know, in your email box from 2 years ago, 3 years ago that are actually really great prospects for today. And you know, when you go through and follow up, sometimes it's as simple as you're going through, let's say you're going through 3 years of emails and there's people there and you're like, man, you know, I never heard back from that person. So hit reply. Hey, I never heard back from you. How are things going? I don't even think we're connected on Facebook. Like, not like a sales email, follow up. It's a relational obligation. It also happens to be a huge profit builder, but be relational about it. If you guys have any questions about this, post them in the comments below. And I will see you tomorrow morning for our day 20. We're 20 days into this, and I'm loving it, and I really appreciate your questions and your feedback on each of these videos. If there's something you would really like to see me cover between now and December 31st, I am scheduling all the different topics we're covering between now and then. I'm doing that today, so please post your comments here or in the Facebook group somewhere so I can see them. Tag me so I'm sure to see them, because if there's something that you want to cover, I want to make sure I cover it for you. Invite all of your friends to PlanetWOW.club so they can be part of this. They can catch up on the videos before we start charging for them. So I'll talk with you guys soon. Have a great day.